So welcome A2 Social Studies. Today we will be talking about media literacy. And the first thing I want us to think about is, when you hear the phrase media literacy, what does it bring to mind?
Content that is online that involves literacy.
Okay, Mackenzie?
Understanding what's on the media and writing about it and understanding it more than what you would normally think of when you see it.
Okay, Nick?
Like when you can understand and use online things like Google and websites and stuff like that, like competently.
Okay, Sophia?
Like videos, news articles, like any of that kind of stuff.
Okay, and lastly, Liam?
BuzzFeed.
Okay, BuzzFeed is actually media, so everything is included in that, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to actually take a look at what media literacy is definitionally, but a lot of what you guys are saying is on the right track. So we just have a short video that is describing media literacy.
Media literacy is not only the ability to understand information being presented to us, but also determining the best way to respond to it. When we say media, we are speaking about the way people communicate around the world, whether it is through print, radio and television, the internet, or new forms of media. For the past century, mass media has been produced by corporations or state entities that control the content of messages communicated to the public. These organizations edit news, advertising, and other information before the public sees the final product. New digital technologies, such as social media, allow for a new, freer flow of information. No longer do we rely solely on one source of information, but our information comes from a wide variety of sources. In addition, each and every person has the ability to contribute to the public exchange of knowledge. Of course, the information that we receive may still be biased, so it is important that we understand how messages are created and consumed in all forms of media. This understanding is the definition of media literacy. So, how do we make sense of the diversity of information being presented to us at a faster pace than ever before? We can do so by gathering, analyzing, and reflecting on that information so that we can better understand how and why a specific message is being delivered. We can start by asking questions, such as, who created this message? How is it constructed? What is being left out? What is their goal? Do I agree with what is being said? Is this message targeted to a local, national, or global audience? Who is it intended for? We can also look for information with diverse perspectives in order to produce thoughtful responses. By doing so, individuals are empowered to form their own opinions and are less likely to be swayed by the information they consume on a daily basis. As individuals learn to evaluate information and media resources for themselves, passive citizens and consumers are transformed into engaged and active participants of the knowledge economy.
Okay, so this video ties in a lot to what you guys were saying, except it sort of takes it a step further. When you guys were giving your definitions for media literacy, you were mentioning sort of different types of media, so you're almost listing off types of media, but it's really being able to read into the media, and not just look at it and observe it, but analyze it. Okay? So that is what we're going to model today. So we're going to look at some pieces of media as a group, and we're going to ask these questions about that media, and then I'm going to have you guys break off into pairs and do that on your own. Okay? So the first question that we have to ask is, why would we learn about this at all? Basically, children aged 8 to 18 use media an average of 7 hours and 38 minutes each day. And this kind of varies because in a lot of ways we are doubling up on media. Sometimes you may be watching TV while holding a cell phone. So these things are hard to find these exact numbers for, but the key is we use media all the time. And it extends far beyond the academic world. So this is something you will have in academics, something you will have to deal with in your lives, almost certainly. Okay? So what is media? These are a lot of the things you listed earlier. It is basically any means of mass communication, and we usually regard this in a group. Okay? So it is not just me texting Liam, for example. It would be things that are released more publicly, like newspapers, magazines, social media, and so on. Anything that can fit into these groupings is certainly media. And when we refer to media literacy, we don't just refer to reading words, but being able to read and analyze all of these different types of media. Okay. Now, this is sort of the deeper part that I really want us to get into in media literacy, and that is how we judge media and what types of questions we should ask. You may sort of see these questions or recognize these questions from the video we just watched, but the questions that I want us to ask is, who created this? How is it constructed? And when I say how is it constructed, I mean what type of media is it? Is it a newspaper? Is it a video? Is it a commercial? What is the medium that is being used? What did they leave out? A lot of times advertisers, for example, will leave out certain things. So look not just at what they say, but what they're not saying. What is the goal? Every piece of media is created with a goal in mind. So I want you to think about that goal. We want to look at the target audience. Is it for men? Is it for women? Is it for children? Is it for adults? Is it for a whole range of people? And lastly, do I agree with what is being said? Now, this is one of the most important questions, and I say it's important because I put it last on purpose. I don't want us to just look at something and immediately look at what our opinion is. We want to ask ourselves these questions before we think about whether or not we agree. Because if we answer these questions first, it can inform how we might answer the last question differently. So as a group, we're going to practice this by watching a commercial. Okay, so we want to keep these questions in mind. You may notice I left out your opinion question or whether or not you agree with it, but we are just going to watch the video first. And this is a real Super Bowl commercial from a few years ago.
Hey, ladies. Enjoying the film? Of course not. Because this is our movie! And Dr. Pepper 10 is our soda. It's only 10 manly calories, but with all 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper. It's what guys want, like this. Trays. So you can keep the romantic comedies and lady drinks. We're good. Dr. Pepper 10, it's not for women!
Okay.
That's me.
So we will pause. We're going to watch the video again, but just before we do that again, I want you to look at these questions, take a moment to read over these questions, and really keep these in mind when you're watching the commercial. So it may be hard to look at all 6 of them, but maybe look at 2 of the questions in particular, and think about them when you are watching this commercial again. Okay? Is everyone good? Got a question? Okay.
Hey, ladies. Enjoying the film? Of course not. Because this is our movie! And Dr. Pepper 10 is our soda. It's only 10 manly calories, but with all 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper. It's what guys want, like this! Trays. So you can keep the romantic comedies and lady drinks. We're good. Dr. Pepper 10, it's not for women!
Okay. So I want to kind of go over these one by one. First one, who created this? Liam.
Okay, so can I say who created it and then my...
Okay, we'll get to you in a moment. But
Okay,
who created it?
so it's Dr. Pepper.
Okay, so Dr. Pepper. Anything else? Pretty simple Dr. Pepper commercial. Okay, so this question is sometimes easy, and commercials it's fairly easy to see, but sometimes it may not be as easy to see. But this is a Dr. Pepper commercial. How is it constructed, Andre?
Well, there's one main guy,
Okay.
and he's holding the Dr. Pepper can,
Okay.
and he's basically talking throughout the entire commercial.
Okay, so it's one guy, he's kind of doing action stuff. He's talking about Dr. Pepper, the whole commercial, yeah?
It's an advertisement.
Okay, it is an advertisement, so we're looking at a specific type of medium. It's not a movie, it's not a book, it is a commercial, it's a video commercial, yeah?
But, so he littered a can.
He did litter a can,
That's not nice.
which is bad.
It's bad for the environment.
It is not good for the environment. Mackenzie?
Oh, I'll slide in.
Okay, Beckett?
Wait, are we on the next question?
We can move on to the next one. So what did this commercial, or what did they leave out? Yeah, Beckett.
They left out what it tastes like, because most people don't like Pepsi because it's too sweet.
Okay.
And what the other flavors were, because they did say at one point that they came in different flavors, but they didn't tell you.
Okay, so it says nothing about the taste, nothing about the variety of flavors, yeah?
They left out that not only men can drink it.
Women can certainly drink this. They did leave that out, yeah?
Where to buy it.
They didn't tell you where to buy it at all. Okay, so we don't know If you buy this in stores, if you buy it online, we have no idea. Okay? So in a lot of ways, they didn't tell you a lot about their product, but they were trying to send a message. So what is the goal then? If they weren't telling you what it tasted like, where to buy it, what was sort of the goal? Yeah.
One, to be sexist, and
Okay.
two, to have people buy it.
Okay, so I mean, you're not wrong. In a lot of ways, we could view this as sexist, but you know, they're not. It's not necessarily sex. They're targeting people. So what is their goal with that? Yeah.
Well, their goal is because, for the most part, not to say it's always true, but a majority of men generally watch the Super Bowl. Not
Right.
saying that women don't. It's
Sure.
just that a lot more men do watch it than women, and they're targeting the men who may be watching it who might not have have heard of Pepsi, which is unlikely but could happen, or they don't. They might consider it a more feminine drink.
Okay, so it sort of appears like they're like refuting like a misconception or whatever that Dr. Pepper is only for women. Okay, and they're doing this during the Super Bowl where there'll be a male audience. Oh.
They wanted to emphasize the calories in the drink.
Okay, so they're talking about it's a diet drink. Okay, and they're trying to emphasize the calories. Yeah.
They want to get guys to buy it.
Okay, great. Their goal is basically to get guys to buy the drink. And that kind of ties into question number 5. So we'll go to you, Nick, but yeah.
I think it was kind of like they're trying to say like it's a diet drink, and people feel like only women drink diet drinks, so they're kind of like, but it's me.
Exactly. So that's sort of what I took from it, is that they're saying, well, we got this diet drink, but just because it's a diet drink doesn't mean it's not manly. So it appears that their goal is to sort of change the minds of men about their perception towards this diet drink. So that's what I would take from it, but there are obviously a whole lot of things to take from it. And just because we've discussed a little bit about it, but who is the target audience? So it aired during the Super Bowl, that is one thing to consider. Like when it airs is important, but yeah, Mackenzie?
Men.
Okay,
But
men. Yeah.
mainly men, but some girls would be like, well, it's still commercial for everyone.
True. And when we say target audience, we don't mean that it is only for one group, but it was the target of that commercial. So obviously women will watch that. It's probably not a commercial for toddlers, but they may be in front of the TV when it's happening. It doesn't mean that they won't be there and watching it, but the target audience would probably be men who watch the Super Bowl. Okay? Any questions on sort of how we follow this process? Okay. So what I would like us to do now is sort of to practice this on our own. Now this, we used a commercial, but we can apply this to other things as well. So there is a link here, but I have also shared a Google document with all of you. What I would like you to do is on the Google document, there's a link. You may, I would like you to read the article individually, and afterwards we can partner up and answer the questions. So there are the 5 questions up here on the Google Doc. You can read the article individually, work in pairs when you are done, and then I want you to make a copy of the document, answer the questions, and share it back with me. And I will write my email on the board so you know who to share it with. Okay? So if it could be relatively quiet so that you guys can read for the first 2 to 3 minutes, and then I will allow you to submit your answers. Okay? So you may now log on your Chromebooks, go to your email, and find that. So the link has the article itself.
I have a question,
Yeah.
Mr. Devlin.
Yes. Yes. Just yeah.
Mr. Devlin.
The link won't work.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a really good question. Okay. So yeah.
Can Supreme Court judges retire? Can I just be like, I don't want to do this
The
anymore?
page.
Typically they only do it when they're in bad health. So like if you have Alzheimer's, for example, you probably would retire from it. Yeah.
This computer's dumb. It doesn't work.
Just like,
What do you do?
you probably clicked on it like 8 times.
Oh. It's dumb.
Yeah. No, we did this one. You want to open up the link?
It is.
You want to read it?
I did. I'm a fast reader.
Okay. So,
Why do some people
well, me. What do you think about it?
It was information.
Okay.
How do I use it?
So, you're looking at who created that piece of media? Okay. Okay, so write that. It doesn't need to be full sentences, I just want you to think about it. File. Make a copy. If you are at the answering phase, make sure you do file, make a copy. No. No, share it. So when you're done, I'd like you to share it with me at that account. So file, make a copy. Okay.
Bro, I don't think his Wi-Fi faster. It is not working.
Sure, yeah, you can move. You ready, Paul? Oh yeah, file, make a copy.
I like chicken.
Cool. Ready to go? Let me know what more search.
So it's pretty interesting.
You ready, Paul?
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay, who created it?
It was New York Times,
Okay.
and wasn't it about the Supreme Court?
Oh yeah, that's good looking.